Most people today are not failing because they are stupid. They are failing because they are comfortable. Your brain was designed thousands of years ago to avoid pain and conserve energy. In ancient times, that instinct kept you alive. If you burned too much energy, you starved. If you took unnecessary risks, you died. So evolution programmed your brain with one mission: seek comfort, avoid effort. But here is the problem. We no longer live in a survival world. We live in a comfort factory. Food is one click away. Entertainment is unlimited. Distraction is everywhere. Your phone is a dopamine machine. Every notification, every scroll, every short video is training your brain to choose easy over meaningful. And slowly, without realizing it, you become mentally weak, because comfort is addictive. The more comfortable you become, the harder real life feels. Reading a book feels hard. Working out feels hard. Starting a business feels hard. But the truth is simple. These things are not actually hard. They only feel hard because your brain has been trained to avoid effort. And the longer you stay in comfort, the more trapped you become. Strong comfort trap. Let's talk about the physics of success. Most people think success requires superhuman effort forever. But that's not how reality works. Hard things get easier over time, because effort compounds. What feels impossible today becomes normal tomorrow. Look at strong Elon Musk. Before the rockets, before the billions, before the companies that changed entire industries, he was just a broke entrepreneur trying to survive. During the early days of strong Zip2, Musk was so poor that he lived in the office. He slept on the floor. He showered at a public gym. At one point, he survived on strong about $1 a day. That sounds brutal, but here is the key insight. Those sacrifices created momentum. The hard life of sleeping on an office floor eventually built the foundation for Tesla and SpaceX. What was once extreme effort became the launch pad for global impact. Hard today, easier tomorrow. That's the physics. Now here's a pattern most people ignore. Almost every successful person went through what I call the dishwasher phase. A period of voluntary suffering. A phase where they did boring, exhausting, or humiliating work. Not because they had to, but because they were building something. Look at Jensen Huang. Today he leads NVIDIA, one of the most powerful companies in the world. But before the GPUs, before the billions, he worked as a dishwasher and waiter. For 5 years. Cleaning plates, serving food, learning discipline, building his technical skills at the same time. Most people would quit. He didn't. Look at Sara Blakely. Before she built Spanx, she spent 7 years selling fax machines, cold calling strangers, facing rejection every single day. Doors slammed, phones hung up, no after no after no. That job was brutal, but it trained her mind to handle rejection. So when she finally started Spanx, she already had the mental armor most entrepreneurs never build. Look at Koum. When he immigrated to the United States, his family struggled to survive. He worked sweeping floors at a grocery store. No connections, no money, no computer until he was 19 years old. So what did he do? He went to libraries. He taught himself computer networking. Page by page, manual by manual. Years later, he co-founded WhatsApp, a company that would eventually be acquired by Meta Platforms for $19 billion. But it started with sweeping floors. Then there is Shahid Khan. Today he owns the Jacksonville Jaguars and built a multi-billion-dollar business empire. But when he first arrived in the United States, he had $500. That was it. To survive, He worked as a dishwasher, washing dishes for $1.20 an hour, while studying engineering. Long days, long nights, no shortcuts, just relentless effort. This is the pattern. Before the success, there is almost always a phase of uncomfortable work, a phase where most people would quit. Now let's talk about why most people fail today. Not in 1990, not in 2005, but today. Because the world of 2026 has something unique. It has permissionless leverage. You can start a business with a laptop. You can build an audience online. You can learn any skill for free. The barriers to entry are lower than ever, which means the real barrier is no longer money. It's mental endurance. Most people cannot handle what I call the 777 mental endurance test. 7 days of consistent effort. 7 weeks of persistence. 7 months without visible results. They quit long before momentum arrives. Look at Melanie Perkins. Before building Canva, she pitched her idea to investors. Again and again, rejections. Most people would interpret that as failure. She interpreted it as feedback. She stayed in the game, and eventually, Canva became one of the most valuable tech companies in the world. The opportunity was always there. The difference was endurance. So here is the uncomfortable truth. Success is not about intelligence. It is not about talent. And it is definitely not about motivation. It is about your relationship with difficulty. Weak people avoid hard things. Average people tolerate hard things. But high performers do something different. They seek hard things because they understand something powerful. Hard things build identity. When you wake up early to train, your identity changes. When you work while others are scrolling, your identity changes. When you keep going after rejection, your identity changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries. You become someone who executes. So here is your challenge, a 30-day hard challenge. For the next 30 days, choose one thing you hate doing. Maybe it's waking up early. Maybe it's exercising. Maybe it's studying. Maybe it's working on your business. Whatever it is, do it every single morning. No excuses, no negotiation, no skipping. Because mornings shape identity, and identity shapes destiny. The first week will feel painful. The second week will feel uncomfortable. But by the third week, something powerful happens. Your brain adapts. Discipline becomes normal. And once that switch flips, your life starts to change. Because the people who win in life are not the most talented. They are the ones who learn to live slightly outside their comfort zone every single day. Remember this: comfort builds weak men. Difficulty builds dangerous ones. And one day, when people look at your life, your business, your achievements, they will call it success. But they won't see the early mornings. They won't see the boring work. They won't see the days you forced yourself to continue when everything felt pointless. But you will know. Your legacy was not built in comfort. It was built in the moments you chose the hard path.